Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about my latest adventure in finding a drugstore liquid eyeliner. If that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned. So, just to give you a little background on my preferences in liquid eyeliner, I prefer a pen type liquid eyeliner that is black and also has a brush tip. So, if you're familiar with the Kat Von D tattoo liner, that is my preferred type of eyeliner. I mentioned in a video recently that I wanted a replacement for my beloved Jesse's Girl liquid eyeliner that they used to sell at Rite Aid. And then I realized that I hadn't really done due diligence and looked for a replacement at the drugstore for that eyeliner. So I went on a search, and it really wasn't that hard. I found 7 eyeliners, and I want to share my results with you today. So coming in at number 7. Now, honestly, this was a little confusing when I purchased them. There were 2 Ulta liquid eyeliners in the pen form with a brush tip applicator. So the first one was $2.99, and it is the Ulta Classic brush tip liner. And it was $2.99, and there was another one for a different price, also with the same description. So I bought them both just to see what the difference was. The only difference that I can see in the one that was $2.99, as far as before I even opened it, was that this one was made in the US. This is the $2.99 one. And when I went back to try to find this one on Ulta.com, it was no longer there. So that explains what happened when I opened it and I saw these very frayed bristles and absolutely no ink came out. So basically, they got me for $3. This was a complete dud, and honestly, it shouldn't even be in this list for top 7, but I did purchase it, and it is absolutely at the bottom because it didn't work. In at number 6 is the Zoeva Cat Eye Pen. It is a black box eyeliner, and the color is the Blackest Black. This one came in at $12, and it also describes itself as a brush tip applicator. The reason this is at number 6 is it is the most expensive of the 7 that I purchased, and then when I received it, this is not a brush tip applicator. This is a felt tip applicator. So the description is completely inaccurate. If this is a brush tip applicator, then it must be the tightest bristles on earth. This is a felt tip applicator. Now, if you like a felt tip applicator, what I can say about this is that it is very, very black, and it has a nice long tip, which is really good if you have curly eyelashes and you have a hard time getting that nice tight line across the top. I find a longer tip applicator helps me with that because I do have very curly eyelashes and they sometimes curl in on themselves, and I have a hard time with getting a liquid eyeliner in that space. So, but this is, for me, for my preferences, this is number 6. In at number 5. And this one, I have to admit, 4 and 5 were kind of a toss-up, but I ended up putting this one at number 5. It is the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes here. This one was at $5.99, and the color was Ultra Black. If we take a look at it, it has a medium length tip of the ones that I purchased, and what I liked about this was that it was smooth, it was black, but it did tug ever so slightly. It wasn't horrible. I would use this. It definitely had a nice flexible brush tip, which is why I like brush tip applicators, because they're flexible. But when they're in the pen form, they're a little bit more user-friendly than the long brush tip applicators that you have to dip into the well of ink. And this was a good one. I would recommend this. You can get Wet n Wild anywhere, and so that for that reason, I liked it. The reason that it didn't beat out number 4 was that it did tug ever so slightly, but not bad. In number 4 was the Maybelline Hyper Easy Brush Tip Liner, and I got the shade Pitch Black. It also has about the same length tip as the Wet n Wild one. This one was a little more expensive at $8.99. When I tell you I didn't have very high expectations for this, I didn't. But when I first put it on the lid, it glid. It was like silk the way it went across the lid. So that's why it kind of beat out the Wet n Wild one. But the downfall of the Maybelline one was that the saturation of the color wasn't as intense. And so that's where the Wet n Wild one kind of edged it out. So actually they're about tied, but just for ranking purposes, I put this one at number 4 just for ease of use. It glides like almost like none of the other ones here. It has a surprising slip, but it's not the blackest. It's not the blackest one out of the list. All right, now we're getting into the good stuff. Now, number 3 is not a stranger to me. I have several backups of this one because it was the other drugstore option that I used to use when I couldn't find Jessie's Girl, because Jessie's Girl was only sold at Rite Aid. This one was sold at most drugstores, and it is the Physicians Formula Eye Booster 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Eyeliner and Serum. Now, with this one, you make sure you get the one that's ultra black. They have a couple of different colors that say black, but you want the one that says ultra black. And this one is a little pricier than some of the others. It is at $11.49, and that's why it's at number 3. I haven't used it in a while, even though I have backups of this one, and that's because I'm still running through my Jessie's Girl ones. I didn't put that one in the list because those are no longer available. Jessie's Girl seems to be a company that went out of business, so that's not on the list. But Physicians Formula, the Eye Booster 2-in-1, it's a really good one. It's still more affordable than your Kat Von D's and your Stilas and, God forbid, Tom Fords, things like that. But for the drugstore, it is a little pricey, but it's really good. It's really black. It has the same length tip as most of the other ones that I showed, and the saturation is good. It lasts a good amount of time. It's not bad, and it's a solid one, and you can find this in most places. In at number 2, this one surprised me. You try to go into these things without preconceived notions, or, you kind of try to go in with a blank slate, but sometimes you have biases, and I have to say this one surprised me. In at number 2 is by LA Girl. It is the Jet Setter Liquid Eyeliner, and it's in the shade black. It is $6.99, and it is very black, and it is not really difficult to get off, but it doesn't bleed. I didn't have any trouble with bleeding on any of these, to be honest with you. Didn't bleed. It didn't tug. The price was right. It was really, really good. Really, really good. I will say that just for me, I wish the tip was a little bit longer, but I mean, honestly, it's on par for most of the other ones. And at $6.99, this one is, I think, your best value for what you're getting. So that is the LA Girl Jet Setter Liquid Eyeliner. And if you haven't noticed, the one that we haven't talked about again was the other Ulta Classic Brush Tip Eyeliner. So this one is the current one. It's the only one that they have in stock right now. It is $9, and it is sheer perfection. I love this. Now, any of the ones in the top 3 are great, but for all around value and a black concentrated inky black liner with good staying power, doesn't break the bank, and it's just an all-around great one. I'm going to go with the Ulta Classic Brush Tip Eyeliner in the shade Black. So hopefully that gives you some choices if you like the same kind of eyeliner that I do, and I will see you guys next time.